these groups that, our group can do no wrong and that group can do no right. And we've abandoned this idea that we're supposed to be all in this together. I thought the pandemic was going to bring people together. I really did. I thought it was going to be like 9/11 and that people were going to recognize like, hey, this is a threat to all of us, and let's all try to work together and figure this out. It seems like there's some people that get hit really hard by this, and there's some people, like Aaron Rodgers, who just brush it off like it's nothing.
I mean, total shock that Aaron Rodgers, one of the healthiest human beings on planet Earth.
The best fucking quarterbacks alive.
That I can't believe COVID didn't take him down. I mean, he was a 75-year-old man with diabetes. So clearly COVID was going to kill him.
Well,
the amount of hatred for Aaron Rodgers so far outweighs the amount of upset over a member of the Las Vegas Raiders allegedly running a person over at 150 miles an hour, right? And then he got booted from the team the next day. But the amount of public outrage is kind of insane. And again, every adult in America, now every child in America has had the opportunity to get vaccinated. If you want to get vaccinated, right? I did. You didn't. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. Once everybody's had the opportunity to protect themselves, we're done. But I think this goes to something deeper, which is I think there are kind of two. I used to think there were two types of people with regard to what they thought of human nature. Some people think human nature is good. Some people think human nature is kind of sinful. I think that's still true. But I think there's another distinction that the pandemic really exposed. There are two kinds of people. People who are okay with living with a certain level of risk and people who just are not and think that if they delegate all their power to people to make decisions for them, that all risk can be mitigated. And if that means controlling all the people around them, that's totally fine.
That's a good point.
Because it really is, I think all of our society is built on the notion of risk seeking. Right? People who build societies people who build companies tend to be risk takers and people who are willing to fail, right? Most people who take a risk in business fail. They don't succeed, right? There's always the guy, we feature, guys like you or people like me or people like Jeff Bezos, people who build big companies and win. Those are the people who make the covers of magazines or get ripped up on CNN for no reason. But the people who fail, that's most of the people who try to take a risk. Risk is risky. There's a whole group of people in America who no longer want to take a risk, and they've been sold a lie. I saw a really good piece by Scott Alexander, he used to write for Slate Star Codex before they outed him, and now he runs something called Astral Star Codex, and he was reviewing a book. And the basic thesis of the book is that since the beginning of the 20th century, there's been a big promise made to Americans, and that is there are authorities, and they live in Washington, D.C. or in your city, and they have a big button right here that they can hit that solves all your problems. And if they just hit it hard enough, it's going to solve all your problems. And for a long time, the media kind of went along with that because the media were part of an elite group that agreed with a lot of those ideas. And then the rise of the internet basically shattered that. People could get their own information. You could see through the screen that actually that button didn't exist. And so then the elites in the society had to make a choice. They could either admit that that button never existed and they couldn't smash that button and fix all your problems, which would destroy their power, or they could say it's actually your neighbor. If it weren't for your neighbor, I could hit this button, but your neighbor is in here making me not hit the button. And so you have to hate your neighbor, right? This is why it's been so bewildering to me. So I took the vaccine. My wife took the vaccine. My parents took the vaccine. I have young kids. I have no intention of them taking the vaccine. They're 7, 5, and 1. There's no track record of the vaccine for kids. And the risk to them is below minimal. But you and I can disagree on the vaccine, and I don't care what you do so long as you're not posing a threat to me. And yet there's this whole idea out there that if you don't do what I want you to do, you're going to kill me. I'm vaxxed. I'm not worried about it. As soon as I was done with that second dose, I'm free and clear. And by the way, I can get a mask if I'm all that worried about it. But there's a whole group of people who never want to think like that. They want to mask up forever. You're starting to see it morph now. Right? Well, it's like we can't give each other flu. So we have to make sure that we mask forever. I'm not doing that.
Well, I think that what you said is very important, that there's a bunch of people that don't like risks in life, period. And then when this came along, all of a sudden everything was a risk.